Bonjour, mesdames and mademoiselles. Today I have a very special treat for you. It won't be hardware today, but rather a game. A game for the PlayStation 1, and it's called Star Trek Invasion. This game isn't particularly the best game ever, but it's kind of a nostalgia trip for me because I rented this game for about a week back in the 90s when I was very young, and I hadn't seen it since. I didn't really remember what it was called or anything. I told my friend about it, and he decided to get it for me for one of my birthdays, and now I have it. Well, what can I say? Basically, it's just a case. Like all my PlayStation cases, it's cheap, flimsy, and broken. Comes with a manual, very nice manual, usually no colour. Yep, boring. Okay, and this is what the disc looks like. Like a lot of low-budget titles, very plain and uninteresting. So let's give it a play and see how it holds up today. For the benefit of self-humiliation, I will be watching this back and commenting on what I think about the game, why I like it and why I don't. So the main screen's pretty self-explanatory. You got start game, memory, data banks, which is load, options, and dual play, which I can't do because I don't have a second person. This is the mission select screen. It's a nice little universe kind of thing, goes along with the theme quite nicely. And here you can hear Michael Dorn, who actually plays Worf in the series. Back when I got this game, I really wasn't into Star Trek. The only reason I got it was because it, spaceships and shooting, it looked kind of cool. Here we can see they're really showing off their graphical ability on the PlayStation. It's quite nice. I mean, back then it looked really good. Nowadays it won't look as good, but you have to appreciate we're used to 360s and PS3s now. So, yeah, you get thrown straight into a fight here. There is a mission for training, but it involves pretty much literally going through hoops, and it's incredibly boring. So here the main problem with this game is quite visible. The sort of the sensitivity on the thumbstick is awful. I mean, you're always overshooting enemies or undershooting them, and you can't really ever get in the right position before they move away. The only time I can really hit an enemy is when they're flying away from me or flying towards me. So, I mean, that kind of sucks. But if you're good at this game, then you're probably cringing at whatever I'm saying. Right here I was trying to maximise the screen using my nose, so, it'd be a bit easier to shoot things. Aside from the horrible controls, the only other thing I have to complain about is this little blue triangle you can see in front of my aiming reticule, and it's erratic, it moves on its own. When you're trying to shoot an enemy and they move off the screen, the closest enemy to you at least, it points to another one you don't want to shoot at. So if there's going to be an arrow showing me what I'm shooting at and what I should be shooting at, well, it should fucking work. That's the end of it. So that's the only thing I don't like about this game. So the graphics are really nice, and it follows the storyline quite closely. Earlier we saw a Sovereign class ship, unless I skipped that part. And yeah, it's pretty cool. This is me pretty much failing for the next 6 minutes until the boss fight, and for me the boss fight really makes this game. I mean, otherwise it would be terrible. But I'll skip straight to the boss fight and we'll go from there. So we're not quite at the boss fight yet, but I thought I'd show you guys another view available within Star Trek Invasion. So if you press select, you can get an internal view with the cockpit, or if you press it again, you can have an internal view without a cockpit. This really helps, actually. I found it a lot easier to shoot things. It was still pretty impossible, but I managed to shoot more enemies than I had been doing. Another feature I found out was that you could press triangle to, well, what looks like lock onto enemies, but it really didn't help. The blue arrow thing still moved away from all of the enemies that I was trying to shoot, and it just sent me off in different directions still, so I don't know what the hell that's for. This is kind of cool. A little sequence here. You get a little CGI character, which is quite impressive, and Romulan Warbird, I think that is. This is really my favourite part of the game. This is only the first level, bearing in mind, so that doesn't say a lot for the entire game itself. But this fight's really cool. The first time I saw this shielding used, I thought it was awesome. I'd never seen that effect used anywhere else. The only thing I'd have to complain about this boss fight is that when he cloaks, you can't shoot him, and if you follow the series, you know that they don't turn... they turn invisible. They don't... It doesn't mean you can shoot through them, basically. You can still shoot them. So that's really frustrating. The fact that your not bullets, your blasts just pass straight through the enemy. And that doesn't make any sense, but you know, you can still do it. And I thought it took them a while to cloak after firing as well, but anyway, that's just me being a nerd. This fight, as you can see, is really cool, and this is what happens if you fly inside the shield. It disables your weapons. I have no idea what happens in the series if you fly inside a shield, but that's what happens here. So then I just wasted a load of photon torpedoes. All in all, it's not a bad game. It's not a good game either. You probably want to give this one a miss. The only reason I have it is for the nostalgia factor, but if you're a Trekkie, you should probably collect it. Add it to your collection. I was playing this on an original PlayStation 1. I wasn't using an emulator because I don't think it's right to do that. I think you should collect your own consoles. So, should you buy this game? Well, it's okay. It's for Star Trek fans more than anything, but it's quite playable, and by today's standards, it's nothing. But back then, it was quite a good game. So, I mean, this thing will only set you back £2, and that's about $4. So, why not just go out and grab a copy, see if you like it for yourself? It's pretty good. It's cheap, and it can be fun at times. So, I think you should get it. Yes.